Touch of gloves, and we are underway.
Onwordi switching his stance already.
First blood to Onwordi there with that right hand lead. Immediately closes the gap though.
Yeah, didn't even really need to throw too much of a strike. Just the feint did enough to throw Shergill off. Good pressure position up against the cage here. Like the control of that wrist to bring the knee in the open side. And he drops for the double leg here.
Great stuff early on by Onwordi. And Josh, we've seen guys from the MMA clinic a number of times here on Cage Warriors, especially in London, and they're always really good at chaining the fundamentals together.
Yeah, it was a good job of you know, faking to get in on the hips, but Shergill's done an excellent job of finding his way back to his feet. He's still tied up here, but he's the one pressing forward here in great head position.
Keep your fingers quiet. I can see.
A brief warning there from Mark Goddard.
Stop.
For Shergill to keep his fingers out of the fence there.
When you got your hand behind his back, okay? Fight.
Well, I guess that's a penalty from Mark Goddard. Shergill doesn't get to keep the position anymore. Beautiful change of level, really timed that entry well.
Looking to swing his man around into the mat. That was Onwordi, not successful on that occasion, and Shergill again looking to put his man up against the cage. He's going to have to watch with those fingers through the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. You could pretty clearly see the grip, but it's a strong overhook from Onwordi. And they have been jockeying for that inside head position. It's Shergill who's got the forehead pressed in the cheekbone at the moment. He's dropping in for a single, trying to run the pipe here, but heavy hits from Onwordi.
Onwordi still fighting this takedown attempt from Shergill and doing a good job so far. He's had a nice wide base there.
Yeah, he's almost trying to use an Uchimata hook to roll him over, but this is good heavy hips from Shergill. Doing some damage with the strikes when he could.
He had some free shots there with that right hand and took every advantage to Shergill.
Yeah, I expect some good work on the ground from Shergill. I know Revolution are affiliated to Checkmat Jiu-Jitsu, and you know, very good team here in London.
As they tussle for control against the cage there, we see the banner, Paddy Pimblett versus Soren Bak, September 1st in Liverpool. That's going to be an incredible contest.
Cannot wait for that fight. Shergill looking to run the pipe again. He's got a good grip. He's got to be careful of his head on the outside. It does open you up for a guillotine or a crossface. He's got to get moving. He can't afford to sit there.
Oh, good work from Onwordi in reverse position and get the takedown. Very, very slick from the MMA clinic fighter there, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Shergill's got to be careful not to give his back here as he stands up. He's got to recover that left arm and turn his back against the cage. He's given Onwordi a route straight to the back. Oh, he's going to look for a choke over the top, possibly. But this is an excellent position to do some damage.
A couple of knee to the head attempts there. Didn't land completely flush, but nonetheless giving Shergill something to think about.
Yeah, I think Onwordi just disconnected a little bit too much as he changed level there. He's going to do the hard work again. He's in on the hips and he does complete well. But we've seen that Shergill's going to try and pop straight back up.
Let's see if Onwordi starts to drop some short elbows here. It'll be the first time he's been able to do so in MMA competition.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if he remembers to do so. You know, he's been fighting six fights under a slightly different rule set. And it's just whether you've got the fight IQ to remember that they're part of your arsenal. Looking for the key lock.
Oh, slipped straight into full mount there. This is not where Shergill wants to be with a minute left to play with.
No, and he's got a lot of time to work. That's excellent mount escape from Shergill. He's let himself get gift wrapped though.
Oh, there the elbows we talked about, Josh.
Oh, and it's switching across to the key lock again. Tries the transition to the straight armbar, far side armbar possible now. That underhook, a really good grip.
Watch the back of the head. Watch the back of that head.
There we go, stepping around for the Kimura.
Oh, he's got that locked up, Josh. And there's the escape from Shergill. He's going to get back to his feet.
Good recovery from Shergill.
And a nice right hand on the break from Onwordi.
You know what, I like that Onwordi had the wherewithal to try and chain those together. He moved through a sequence of submissions, threatened the whole time. Just a little bit slippery at the end, but really nice top position on the ground.
Onwordi's corner there, willing him on to attack, but he seemed content to maintain the same pace.
We've only got about 10 seconds left in this round, so I think these two are gonna see this one out, but it's got to be first blood on the judges' scorecards to Onwordi, I'd have thought.
Still attacking is Shergill. And there's the buzzer. Interesting and grueling first round, it has to be said, Josh. A lot of heavy grappling exchanges there.
Yeah, a lot of time pressed up against the cage, that real war of attrition in the clinch. It doesn't look like a lot is going on, but they're constantly working. Here we see some of the early takedown attempts, and this was a nice single leg completed by Joshua Onwordi.
Yeah, slick stuff there from Onwordi. We saw a number of nice takedown attempts, nice takedown entries from the MMA Clinic man here.
And this was
the arm lock.
Yeah, this was the Kimura, and he just didn't control the body enough, able to use that momentum and rolling over for Shergill to escape.
And Josh, we talked about it. Would he have the wherewithal to use those extra weapons? Well, that's a question certainly answered at the end of that first round by Josh Onwordi.
Yeah, and interestingly, in that position, it was the gift wrap, that his own control that was saving Shergill.
Now we move into the second of 3 5-minute rounds. And Josh, another question that we often ask when these amateur fighters are turning professional is how do they deal with that extra 2 minutes per round? Essentially, Onwordi's just a minute off fighting 2 amateur rounds here.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope that they put the camp in. They're both young guys, 25, 24 years old respectively, so I don't expect cardio to be an issue. It's just going to be whether one of them's had a bit better control of their adrenaline than the other. Switches of stance again for Onwordi, very much playing on the outside.
1-2 to the body there from Onwordi.
Much more upright boxing stance for Shergill. Giving up his back here, though, in the overcommitment to the punches.
We saw Onwordi on a couple of occasions in that first round able to slip the punch and get the connection, and working perfectly here in the second as well. And now he's got a very good position here right in front of us at the broadcast table, Josh.
Yeah, he's staying very heavy on the hip, looking to land his shots, but I like what Shergill was doing with that hand to control the striking arm of Onwordi. He was able to really mitigate a lot of the potential damage, but Onwordi's got a deep grip here.
Really just depositing his man to the mat there.
You know, this gets really tiring, defending takedown after takedown. I mean, you know, if you stuff them, you get a nice momentum swing and a psychological bump, but, you know, to get taken down and have to work your way back to your feet again, it gets increasingly harder as the round goes on.
And of course, Josh, there's the question of mental fatigue as well, when all you're doing is defending and you keep getting put on your back or you keep losing the striking exchanges. Surely that has to wear mentally as well.
Looking for the Kimura here. Yeah, I mean, at some point, you just want to get your own offense going. But this is a fantastic Kimura attack. He's got it deep behind. He needs that 90-degree bend in the elbow, though. And Shergill's done a good job of pulling the arm back in to grab hold of his own leg. Classic defense. Heavy hips from Onwordi. Good positioning. See, now that's a scramble that a fresher Shergill perhaps should have stayed up out of, should have got back to his feet, or should have been able to come out on top of. Onwordi perhaps just being the fresher of the two men here.
Could be seeing a case of what the mind wants, the body can't accomplish here as this fight wears on, and it has been a grueling pace, to be fair to both these young men, Josh.
Yeah, this is a heavy position from Onwordi. He's collapsed both knees together, moves a bit further towards mount, stuck in a fairly open half guard here.
In the corner of Onwordi, we're again calling for those short elbows.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real shots of consequence he can land from here. There is a bit of a defensive frame for Shergill, but, you know, I'd like to see the man from Revolution MMA get on his hip, start working. He's staying a little bit flat here and giving up that grip on the arm again. It's an excellent position for Onwordi to attack.
Keep your toes out of the fence.
Onwordi attacking the arm as referee Mark Goddard now warning Shergill for toes in the fence. He's had a warning for fingers already.
It's hard to finish that transition of the straight arm lock off the Kimura grip. It really is, with the slipperiness of this kind of you know, skin-on-skin contact. But traditional Kimura from north-south here.
Onwordi looking to rip that arm out.
There's a few extra things he can do to open this up, but he's got a good bite of it now. And that leg over the head, this could absolutely be the end. It's such a controlling position.
Onwordi looking to crank this one.
And Shergill's going to try and vault over the top, and this might, well, the cage is impeding him a bit.
Reverse triangle, that looked like a tap. Did that look like a tap there on the far side? We'll have to see if we can get a replay of that.
Mark Goddard disagreeing.
Referee Mark Goddard was right on top of the action. He probably had a better look at things than we did, but I'm sure we'll get a chance to have a look at that.
Stand up.
Mark Goddard's going to warn him here for shots to the back of the head. And
stay there.
the rule is you strike the target.
Stand up. Twice I've told you
as presented to you, and the back of the head was presented, so he was very aware of what he was doing.
Can you see me? Don't coach in the break. Look at me. Can you see me?
Referee Mark Goddard
Doctor, come here.
asking for a doctor now. I believe Mark Goddard asked Shergill if he could see him, and Shergill didn't respond with an affirmative.
Well, I think the problem we're going to have here is there's obviously a great deal of fatigue has set into Shergill at this point. He was taking a bit of a beating in the process.
The doctor makes his assessment, and then we make the call, okay?
Well, let's see if we can listen in here. I don't think the microphones will pick it up, but the doctor will just be doing I believe it's a concussion test, which is a pretty standard thing now whenever there's an illegal blow to the back of the head. If Shergill indicates that he can continue, the fight will go on, and if the referee determines a point has to be deducted, that will take place.
Sorry?
Yeah, I think he's basically saying that he won't follow his finger.
It's over. Doctor, forget him. You tell me. It's over.
And the doctor indicates that Shergill cannot continue.
So look, what happened there was the doctor conducted a concussion test, and he was moving his finger in front of Shergill's eyes, and I was watching his eyes the whole time, and he wasn't following the finger, either because he couldn't or he wouldn't. His eyes would not track the doctor's finger, and at that point, the doctor's got no choice but to rule on safety grounds that this fight is over.
I can't go back to the if you said that's it, that's it.
Let's take a brief look back now. That was a legal shot. That one, 2 shots directly to the back of the head. 3 punches to the back of the head. Yeah. I mean, that's as clear as day. Yeah,
the shot in the middle is the significant one, the hammer fist to the back of the head. The other 2 a little bit more grazing. You know,
we're going to take a look at a few moments earlier as well, just to see if that did look like a tap or not. That, to me, is a submission.
That's getting ready to I don't think he actually made contact. I think he's held his hand up.
I don't know if we can maybe see that again in slow motion. I'm not sure if our truck will be able to provide that, but to me, that looked like a...
Well, let's have a look.
That's very close.
Really could be.
There's, that's borderline, I'm sure.
Yeah, that gets really dicey, I've got to say.
Well, that's above our pay grade, Josh. We'll leave that one to be picked apart by more important people. But a disappointing finish to what looked like a really interesting fight between 2 good young prospects.
Yeah, I think Onwordi's going to be very disappointed that this is progressing the way it is.
Well, regardless, we'll throw this one to our MC, Andy Freelander, in the cage, and he'll make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the advice of a doctor, referee Mark Goddard calls a stop to the contest at 4 minutes of round number 2, declaring the winner by disqualification, Gurd Shergill.
Well, Gurd Shergill almost apologising there to Josh Onwordi. Onwordi mounting the cage and I guess thanking his fans for support. I'm sure neither man would have wanted the fight to end that way, but that's the sport and sometimes these things happen. Safety first.